everybody, Douglas V. Gibbs here, Mr. Constitution. I have my wife, Virginia, with me, Mrs. Constitution, and we said that we are going to start doing videos every Friday. We waited till the evening here because got busy with other stuff. But anyway, and so before I get into Virginia's questions and all that, so Ron Murray over at Rumble says, because what the issue was Virginia asked me about Mom Donnie and how if he uses communism and his policies really are messed up, there's going to be people who suffer in New York City. And being the woman that she is, she has empathy. And so she says, well, what about these people who are going to suffer? It's not their fault. And I basically said that, when they voted it in, there's going to, I mean, maybe on an individual basis, you can, help people out or whatever. But ultimately, it's just, you got to go through the lesson. And so Ron Murray over at Rumble comments, sometimes you have to be cold-hearted. Some people just don't believe it until they are in it. Boo, oh, boo-hoo. And I thought that was an interesting, response. And the reality is, sometimes you got to be a little cold-hearted. And I'm not trying to be messed up here, but it's like communism and these leftist ideas and chasing after progressivism and all that, and the consequences that go along with it, is that the Democrats, they don't want there to be consequences. They want you to believe there are no consequences. The fact is there are. And you got to live through those consequences. If people suffer because of the communist policies of Mom Donnie, that's what it is. And one of the best ways I can explain it is it's sort of like someone who is an addict. And, you keep helping them. Eventually what it becomes like, if you have someone who's a narcissistic addict and they continue to use people, and it's sort of like they're drowning and you go out there to try to help them, and what do? They grab your head, they pull you underwater. You can only be pulled underwater so many times. Until a person reaches rock bottom, they suffer, they go through the tough part, they're not going to go to rehab. And that's kind of the way I look at it. And so I was just using a little common sense, a little reality there. Now, that said, you have a question. You have a couple of questions, right? I asked, because what I'm doing is during the week, I'm asking my wife to come up with questions, and then we'll discuss. And, and the other thing that Rom said is give your wife a chance to finish a sentence. I do talk more. I am more knowledgeable. But it was funny because after the video last week, I did say, after we were done with the video, I said, well, maybe I should let you get a few more words in edgewise. But anyway, all right, go ahead.
Oh, lucky me.
Yeah.
The Obama thing and the Russian hoax.
The Obama-Russia hoax thing. Explain that.
Yes.
And also, I want to pull some constitutionalism in here, too. I am Mr. Constitution, so there needs to be that. All right, so basically what happened, if you go back to this whole situation, is when Trump won in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, and they were convinced it was inevitable that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Okay. She was Obama's heir apparent. And so when she didn't win, then they couldn't admit that Trump beat her. The polls all said she was going to win. All the polls were wrong. How could that happen? Well, they've been manipulating the polls, and they basically got to the point where they were believing their own BS. And so if it was a shoo-in, it was inevitable she's going to win, and somehow Trump won, and he's got no experience, he's not a part of the system and all that. Well, then there must have been something to cause it. Couldn't have been his popularity. And so must have been the Russians. Now, that said, the idea that the Russians might manipulate the elections, as our enemies are always trying to do things like that. And they had already done intelligence assessments ahead of the election on whether or not Russia was capable, and if they were trying to fix the election. And first of all, Putin wouldn't prefer Trump, he'd prefer Hillary, because not only are the Democrats weaker when it comes to foreign affairs, but also they're closer to what he believes, and he'd probably be able to work out some deals with Democrats. So first of all, he didn't want Trump, but yet they got to convince everybody they did. And secondly, and this is what we're finding out from Tulsi Gabbard's report, which is why this is in the news, is that the intelligence community had been reporting all along. Putin don't care about it. He's not capable of that kind of influence, so it's not going to happen. It isn't a factor. So then after Trump won, Barack Obama basically said to his intelligence people, James Comey and Clapper and Brennan, hey, that's not the narrative we need. We need a narrative. We need intelligence reports that supports our narrative that Trump is a Russian asset, that the Russia was interfered with the election, and that way we can go after Trump as a Russian asset and so on and so forth. So immediately the intelligence community changed their tune. Now there are reports from Tulsi Gabbard, who is now the director of national intelligence. She's coming out. She says, "Hey, we got the evidence that not only was the Russia involvement influence was a hoax, which we knew all along, and the Steele dossier, we knew it was faked and it was paid for by the Clintons and all sorts of stuff, but and we knew it all along. But now we got the evidence, and not only did it happen and was it a fake whatever, and the media ran with it and all sorts of stuff, but Obama ordered it. Obama was the one that said, "Hey, this is not good enough. We need." We need a Russian a collusion story narrative, and so the reason why it's a big deal is because let's go back in history a little bit. President Richard Nixon after Watergate. I'm sure you're a little familiar with that. You've heard of Watergate, right?
Right.
And Nixon resigned, and he was going to be impeached. Do you know what the big deal about that story was?
No.
All right, so what happened was Republicans broke into Democrat headquarters because they believed the Democrats were cheating. They were looking for the evidence. Okay. And at the Watergate Hotel, and they got caught basically. But here's the reason why Nixon resigned and was in danger of being impeached, because he lied about it to the American people. He sat there and said, "Hey, I knew nothing about it," and he did. He lied. So there's Exhibit A. Okay. A president who lied to the American public, and he was on his way out as a result. Okay, now do you remember Clinton when it came to Monica Lewinsky, that whole story?
Yes.
Okay, and she basically did a special favor for him in the Oval Office. And do you know why he was impeached?
No.
He lied about it. I didn't have any relations with that woman, kind of thing.
But he did.
But he did.
Yeah.
He lied about it. So impeachment because of his lie. So that's Exhibit B. So whenever a president or any public official lies, they commit perjury, they lie to the American people, or they lie to Congress, it's a big deal. And in the Constitution, it says that you can that the impeachment, removal from office for president, vice president for bribery and treason and high crimes and misdemeanors. Lying to the American public, lying to Congress, that's a high crime and misdemeanor.
Okay.
High crime meaning they're high in office and they've committed this crime. Perjury is a big deal. Okay. If you perjure yourself in court, you're in big trouble. Lying in an official capacity or to court or to Congress is a big deal. Okay. So President Obama, Clapper, Brennan, who was a CIA chief. Clapper was the director of national intelligence. Okay. Comey, who was the FBI chief, director of the FBI. They all lied under oath about it. It was a ruse. It was the Russia hoax. The Russia collusion narrative was a hoax. So it was a lie. It was made up. And then when they were confronted about it, they lied about it. Oh. To Congress. In the case of the three intelligence people I mentioned. And so that's why it's a big deal. You have a president of the United States who lied about it when he's the one that ordered the narrative, and he knew it was a false narrative. Because the intelligence agencies had previously said Russia's not a problem. Suddenly they are. Now, that's why the autopin thing and Biden's mental acuity or lack thereof issue is a big deal is because of the lie. It was lied about. The Democrats were hiding his mental decline, and they lied about it. So perjury, lying about it to the American people, be it Obama in this Russian collusion thing, or Biden's mental acuity and the auto pin and all that, that's really the big deal. If you have persons that are there to represent you,
Right.
to take care of your government system, they're in charge of the laws and the safety and all of that of the country, and they're lying and they're committing these lies in connection to a collusion and criminal activity. That's a big deal, and so that's why it's all over the news. Now, what's even makes it even more interesting is what Obama did was projection. In other words, they were going after Trump, accusing Trump of doing what they were doing.
Okay.
That's what's really a
Okay,
big deal
but-
about it too.
But now he's no longer president. So why is it a big deal, especially specifically now?
All right,
know.
let's
You know what I'm saying?
because if you first of all, because if you let it go,
Okay.
then you're basically sending the signal, hey, if you lie and you get out of office, before anybody finds out, you're good, because no one's gonna make a big deal about it. You're gone.
Okay.
Well, you want to first of all, you want to not encourage that behavior. Okay. Second of all, well, in politics, in the system like this, it's not just that Obama was representing Obama; he's representing the Democratic Party.
Okay.
The Democratic Party's reputation is also at stake here. Why is it a big deal? Because they continue to lie. And this is just more evidence in that continuation of behavior. And if you can, back in 2016, prove it was, now you can go to 2020 and other things and say, look, see, there is a sequence here that they keep following.
Okay, but what's going to happen to Obama?
I don't know. And the interesting thing about it is, if it is treasonous, in my opinion, Trump has said as such. Could he go to jail for the treason? He oughta. And
probably
many
not
of the
gonna
people around him for what they did ought to
Okay.
be wearing an orange jumpsuit and behind bars. But the interesting twist in it is when they were going after Donald Trump after his presidency, and that's another reason why it's important. Hey, they went after him, but we can't go after them. So when they went after Trump, claiming that he did all these things, one of them, encouraging the January
Right.
6th insurrection, which wasn't an insurrection. I'm not going to get into that right now. And what happened was the United States Supreme Court took a case saying, no, the president's immune. You can't go after a president after his presidency for things that he did in the capacity of being president of the United States. If you went after the president, if you were able to go after the president criminally after his presidency and say, he committed this crime while president, and then he has to serve time, let's say,
Right.
then the president's going to be more careful as president in making his decisions. You don't want a president like that. You need a president that's able to make the decisions he needs to make without fear of retribution after he's gone. That said, according to the Constitution, the president can be criminally gone after if it's something that they were impeached for and convicted of. No impeachment's been reached a conviction before, but according to the Constitution, if they are impeached over a particular issue and they're convicted of it and removed from office, then there can be a criminal charge for that. So using the Constitution, then Obama is immune. You can't criminally go after him.
So he got
Now
away
that
with it.
said, I think he should still be able to, from my own personal perspective,
But
because
he's not going to.
Obama's probably going to be immune, but that doesn't mean everybody
Okay.
around him is.
That wouldn't be fair, though.
Well, he was president of the United States. Everybody else are just
Puppets.
members of the federal government. Well, puppets. Yeah.
Puppets.
Well, they are, but
Okay.
Obama's a puppet.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay, the next one. The guy, what was his name? Brian. Can't think of his name. The one that killed the 4 students.
Are you talking about the Idaho killer?
Yes.
Okay, what's the question about that?
Question. He's gonna be sentenced for life. I don't think he should be sentenced for life.
You think he should be set free?
No, I think he should be.
Put to death?
Yes.
Okay. So you think it's too lenient?
Yes.
All right, what happened there is he didn't get a trial.
No, he didn't get a trial because he's guilty.
But well, what happened was, see, when it comes to a trial,
Okay.
you're innocent until proven innocent.
Right.
The purpose of a trial is to determine whether or not there's guilt,
True.
right? But you're innocent until proven guilty. That's just a basic right as an American.
Right.
So you go into trials innocent.
Right.
They have to prove you're guilty. You don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt. Okay. And then, if you're proven guilty, then there's a sentencing. Had it gone through trial and he wound up losing, and he was and what was he killed 4 or 5 college students?
Yeah.
Okay. So had he been gone through trial and a jury found him guilty, then in the sentencing, execution was on the table.
Okay.
He could have been executed. So what they did is called a plea deal. A plea deal. You are going to be found guilty. It's going to cost all the taxpayers dollars for this trial. It's going to create all kinds of whatever. Tell you what, if you're willing to say you're guilty,
which is true,
but if you're willing to admit it, put in a guilty plea,
which you did,
then we'll make sure you don't get death, but it'll be life imprisonment.
That's not fair, though.
And well, it's a plea deal. This wheeling and dealing always goes. Whether or not it's fair is, I'm not going to get into whether or not it's fair. Yes, I think there should have been a trial. Yes. A trial would have been important because it would have brought out the facts. It would have given the America and the family of the victims
closure.
Well, not just closure, but an experience to hear and see what happened, which does lead, I think, partly to closure. But he basically the prosecutors were willing to do the plea deal. His defense attorney said, "Hey, this is probably a deal you want to take if you don't want to be put to death, but you're gonna be in prison forever without parole." He got like 4 life sentences, I think, if I remember properly. So he did a plea deal, and when there's a plea deal, now you don't need the trial because he said, "Oh, I'm guilty." Right. So the trial, because the purpose of the trial is to prove guilt.
Right.
You're innocent until proven guilty. But if you say, "Oh, I'm guilty," there's no trial. And then, in the case of the plea deal, you get whatever was agreed upon, and what was agreed upon was he's not going to the chair. So there you go.
I don't think it's right.
So you think he should have gotten death?
He killed 4 innocent people.
But the way our system works, right, wrong, or in between.
I don't.
If there's a deal, if the prosecutors go, "Okay, tell you what, if you're willing to say you're guilty, we'll go easy on. We'll go a little bit easier. You won't have to die." And there's a number of reasons for it. And you got to realize, trial lawyers and most lawyers, they don't like to go to trial. They want a settlement or they want a plea deal. I remember a case that I helped regarding depositions and writing up some of for the plaintiff. I had typed up some stuff for him, and rather than it going to trial, it wound up with a settlement because the defendant feared that if they lost the case, they may pay multi-millions. And so what they were going to do was they were going to drag it out as long as they could, hoping that the plaintiff ran out of money, patience, and time, and then they could get away with either, get completely out of it or a small settlement. And lawyers, they prefer that anyway. They want to go for the settlement. I'm not saying all lawyers are that way, but that's a general way it is.
I still
And
think it
so
was
the
unfair.
person wound up getting a settlement, and so rather than millions, they wound up with I think it was like a little over 100,000. But that's just and it's just an agreement. Now that person could have said, "I'm not taking your settlement.
Yeah.
Let's go to trial." But then they risk losing the whole thing. Then again, the defendant risks with punitive damages and stuff, millions. So and that's kind of the same situation here. Is you go to trial and you lose. I mean, you might win and then you've got freedom, but if you lose, you're going to get the chair, and it looks like you're going to lose. So if you want to save your life, do the plea deal.
I don't think you should have got the plea deal.
Well, that's a part of that's
I
how
know,
our system works.
But he killed 4 innocent people.
I agree.
And
And you want to see it go to trial so he gets so that he suffers from is given the full penalty of law.
well, yeah, because he's going to be sitting in jail while tax dollars are still paying for that.
Yeah, we're going to pay.
He's still going to get food,
and he'll
3
probably
meals a day.
write a book, How I Did It, or
Right.
something, and make him millions of dollars or whatever.
He's still going to get a meal. He's still going to exercise. He's still going to be able to read.
And you would rather him be removed from society.
Yes, he killed 4 innocent people. You can't even bring him back.
But our system allows for plea deals. You got a plea deal.
I think it was wrong.
Okay. What's the next question?
The $100,000, is it $100 million that was supposed to go to the California fires? Where'd the money go?
You talking about fire aid?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So fire aid, for those of you who are not familiar, it was a big giant concert, and and it had actors and singers and all sort of stuff to raise money over the fires there in Los Angeles, so they can get them to the victims and help fix whatever was going on.
That was the main
and all
purpose
this
for it.
money was raised, and none of
Yes.
it went
To the
to
people.
any of the victims.
Right.
It went out to this nonprofit, and it was a bunch of nonprofits that had nothing to do with the fire.
Okay.
So this is not constitutional. This is just a political reality. This is what the left does. It's the USAID all over again. This is what they do. They make it look like their heart's in the right place on one hand, and it's just a big scam on the other hand. USAID, for example, was supposed to be, U.S. Dollars going to different countries to aid them in, good things that'll help them be better allies and be better for their country, help them grow or prosper, whatever. And it was junk. It was all junk, and a lot of it was money laundering and basically the Democrats getting their wish list and putting money in their pockets and all that. That's all fire aid was. Fire aid was, what's sad is the performers probably honestly thought the money's gonna go to the right place, but the people
that was a
behind
lot of
it,
money.
because that's what the left does. That's what bureaucracy does. That's what the left does. That's what the human nature sometimes does. And you're right, it's wrong. It's messed up. Now, that said, I'm bothered sometimes when nonprofits are gone after, let's say, like a Red Cross, because, well, they didn't send all the money we gave to the victims. Well, there are administrative costs.
Way too expensive for that.
Well, sometimes it is more than it ought to be, but nonetheless, there are going to be administrative costs. That's just reality. Nonprofit means they're not making a profit. It doesn't mean that somebody isn't getting paid to do their job. So you got an administrator, you got the secretary, you got the person who's figuring out the monies and so on. They got to they're going to get their paychecks. There's going to be the building that office is in, the cost of that. So hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
So all of those things have to be paid. That's just reality. It's just like with what I do. I mean, I'd do it for free if I could, but I need sponsors, and it's because it costs money. And I pay airtime on this station, and I pay fees for different services I use, and so on and so forth. That's just a reality. So when it came to fire aid, I could see some of the money going towards administrative costs or something like that. I get that, but this is not that case. This goes way beyond the cost of administration. This goes to where the money's going out to some nonprofit that's way out there in Hoboken, wherever, that has nothing to do with the fires, but it's a close friend of the people who are running this, and it's a cause that's going to, push the progressive agenda or whatever. That's what That's what happened, unfortunately.
It's so sad, though.
And it's
really
well, and if
sad.
you're a victim of the fire, which wouldn't have happened had the California legislature and Gavin Newsom administered the state properly.
If they didn't.
You've got an empty reservoir, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm not going to relitigate that, but that whole disaster really was man-made in the sense that while it may have started naturally, I'm not even sure about that. The means for putting it out and all that wasn't there because of man-made reasons, but nonetheless. So you're a victim. You're going, man. I got burned here, literally.
No kidding. Twice.
No pun intended, but it worked out that way. And now somebody says, "Oh, well, we're going to look out for you," but I'm not going to see any of it because it was a sham. It was for their friends and nonprofits and whatever. And so I get it. It was wrong. And now the question is there enough evidence that could create a criminal case? I mean, they lied in a sense. Hey, you're going to get some money for this, and now we're actually going to keep it and do it. Is that false advertising? Is that? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the criminal whatever would be, but you would think there might be a case there.
Oh, I doubt if it go to trial. Yeah.
Don't be so pessimistic. You never know.
Really? Okay.
You never know.
I'm just saying. Okay.
But I understand your frustrations. And as a woman, you're going to be a little bit more empathetic than I might be, and your heart goes out to them, and I get that.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, it's just reality, forget it. But it unfortunately, that kind of thing happens. And more often than not, there's not much we can do about it. Any other questions?
No, that was it. That's
All
so
right.
sad.
All right, so this is the second episode of Mr. and Mrs. Constitution on Fridays. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to get into some constitutional questions, too. I tried to get that kind of on the first one with Obama and all that. But so when we prepare for this,
Okay.
I would like at least one of the questions to really have a heavy angle on the Constitution, because me being known for that, that's kind of something. Now, that said, this is what's in the news. Wonderful questions. Thank you. And thank you, audience. And if you like this, you want to keep it going, you want to give us a little help here by getting it out there, subscribe, hit the notification, put it out there on social media. Visit my social media. It's right there in the red bar at the bottom of this video. If you go to any of the video channels or social media and you put in Douglas V. Gibbs, that's always the keyword, Douglas V. Gibbs. You'll be able to find it. I write pretty regularly. My wife puts the links on social media for me. So Facebook, I got like 4 Facebook pages she's putting it out there on, and X and LinkedIn and True Social. Befriend me on those and follow me. Or just go to douglasvgibbs.com. douglasvgibbs.com. There you go, right there. Go to the blog. We got all kinds of fun stuff that we're working on that site. Hopefully within the next month or two, we'll have it all up. A trivia section is one of the things. And as always, return here for our videos, which we're going to start doing every Friday. So Friday night or maybe. So on Saturday morning, get up in the morning and say, hey, I wonder if Doug and Virginia did their video. Down the road, we want to make it live, chat room, all that.
Yeah.
Still figuring out. Also, don't forget that I am on 6 times a week on some type of media, AM radio, Patriot Soapbox. And there's all kinds of, Rumble. There's something going on. And I'm getting ready to pick up a solo show on Patriot Soapbox. I'll let you guys know once that's in play. And, of course, I'm on America Matters Media on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So there you go. All right. So thanks for spending the time. We'll see you next time. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right.
Thanks
We're
for
good.
watching.
Bye-bye now.